Alrighty.
Hello, everybody. Hello. I hope you all are having a beautiful and wonderful day. Beautiful and wonderful day. My name is Crystal Williams. If you are new under the sound of my voice, I am Crystal Williams, known as your favorite career coach. And it's been some time since I've been live up here. And that's because I've been on this thing called maternity leave. Woo-hoo. Yes, I have a beautiful daughter now, and now I'm back in action. I'm excited to just come up here at the end of Financial Literacy Month to just share with you all a few things and also introduce you to a wonderful lady I met recently, Miss Jessica. Miss Jessica, say hey, Jessica.
Hi, everybody. How are y'all?
Yes, Jessica and I connected. I want to say about a month ago, honestly.
Girl, it's been like
Yeah,
2 weeks, but it feels like it, don't it?
it really has. So we connected, and then the first conversation we had, we just hit it off because she was talking about. Well, first of all, we have very similar audiences. We cater to the 9 to 5 audience, but she caters to the 9 to 5 audience from a financial advisor perspective, and so she has this thing called the wealthy employee. I was just like, oh yes, being wealthy and an employee is definitely doable. It's possible. And I love how you're going after what God has showed you to go after because it's definitely necessary to talk about in this season, in every season. Because
Yeah.
I mean, yes, you can talk about, oh, you can't get rich on your 9 to 5 and all of that. Listen, it's not about getting the rich or making the most. It's about how you manage your
Yes,
money that you're receiving, right?
yes,
And so
yes.
that's why Jessica is joining us today. She's going to share with you a little bit of tips, practical tips on how to unlock becoming a wealthy employee. Okay. And so
Yes.
I'm just so excited to have her. I'm going to pass the mic to her in a few minutes. But before we do that, I want you to go ahead and put some hand claps in the chat, so that Jessica can see that she's very appreciated because she is to be on this LinkedIn live. Okay, and so I'm going to pass the mic to Jessica and get ready to learn a wealth of information.
Yes. Hello again, everybody. How are y'all doing? My name is Jessica Hudson, and yes, I am the founder and the employees coach of Wealthy Employees. Wealthy Employees came to me. Listen, God gave me this, I believe, really from when I was a child, because finances and money management has always been something that I have just been so fascinated with. Because it's important. Like, we make financial decisions every day, from literally, am I going to Uber Eats today or am I going to cook? Like, it's literally a financial decision in every moment of the day. And it's so important to make sure that we are understanding how to maximize on our wealth, how to make sure that our money is making money for us. And so I'm just so honored. I'm so happy to be here with Crystal and y'all today on y'all lunch. I am, again, like she said, I'm going to try to give you as much information as I could possibly can on y'all lunchtime today. So let's get started without further ado. I don't want to hold y'all up, so I want to make sure I'm going in and diving right into this. And so, like Crystal said, some people think that being wealthy can't happen while you're an employee. And let me tell y'all straight up, that's a whole lie. That is a whole lie. If you have not seen our last live that was on Instagram, it is on my Instagram at wealthyemployees.com. You can go ahead and go over on Instagram. You can go to the website as well. You can find it on there. And we really talked about how you can become a wealthy employee and how much it is an actual thing. And so today I really wanted to just make sure that y'all got those practical tips because it's it's a thing if you know what you're doing. Like it's just with anything. We have to make sure that we have the wisdom in whatever we're trying to pursue, right? So whether you're trying to become, whether or not you're just trying to save up some money, you're trying to invest some more, you have to understand where to invest, how to invest, where to save, where to put your money. So we have to have this knowledge in order to start building this wealth. And it doesn't matter if we're making $50,000 or $150,000. At the end of the day, if you know what to do with your money to make it grow for you, you're going to be able to build that wealth. And that's what I'm here to really tell y'all, and give y'all these tips on how to do. Because when I was when I left college, actually, I didn't have a job for a while. um, and when I did get a job, it was just starter off positions, like part-time positions. But thankfully I had 401ks. But I obviously didn't stay at those jobs, but it was necessary for me to understand, what am I supposed to do with my money when I move? Like, where am I supposed to go with it? How am I supposed to look out and make sure that this money that my employer or my former employer is no longer contributing is still growing? And that's what I'm talking about when I'm saying, like, you got to get the wealth. You have to get the wealth of knowledge in order to build the wealth. So the first order of business in building wealth is planning and starting now. Y'all, listen, people say time is money. And when it comes to building an investment portfolio or building up a savings account, time is definitely money. So I don't know if you all have ever heard the term compounding interest. But what it is, it means that your interest is going to gain interest on interest, right? So in the simplest terms, with the simplest numbers, because we eat in lunch, we not really, we're not trying to get into all the nitty-gritty numbers, we're trying to keep them easy. But if you invested $100, right, into a savings account, and you were earning 10% on that savings account every month, right, you would earn $10 at the end of the month. But what happens with compounded interest is that you get another 10% on top of your whole 110. So not just your initial investment, but the other $10 that you already earned in interest, right? So you can see how, if you're earning, not you earned $10 the first month, but now you earned $11 the next month, you can see how that's going to add up, and how it adds up very quickly. And the only real way to maximize that is to make sure that you're investing now. You have to invest in it now. You have to invest in your financial wisdom now. You have to get connected with the right people. Me, Crystal, making sure that we're able to give you the knowledge that you can use to build this wealth. So even if you
Jessica, I have a question. First off, you're giving wonderful, wonderful knowledge. But okay, let's recap. So you said, talks about the compounding interest, right? And that's a way that we can build wealth. But is there a certain account that I may need to get as
that's what I was Yes, that's what I was just about to get on to.
okay? Let me go ahead and let you continue then.
Listen, no, keep the questions coming. Yes, that is exactly where I was going next. See, me and Crystal, we on the same wavelength, y'all. I'm telling y'all, we only met like 2 weeks ago, but it feels like we have been connected for years, okay? So yes, investment account. Where does it depend on? It really depends on what your current financial goal is, right? So let's just say savings accounts are always going to be great, because whether you're saving for a vacation, whether you're saving for a home, whether you're saving for college, I mean, savings account are always going to be a go-to, right? But it's not just any savings account, right? You want to make sure that you're invested in high yield savings accounts. And what that means is that these accounts are going to pay you higher yields or higher interest. You're going to get more money on top of your investments, because these banks that hold these accounts, usually they do not have brick and mortar banks, so they don't have as much overhead. So for example, Bank of America, right? We know that Bank of America is on every street corner and you can find it locally. But for a bank like Discover or Ally or um, Wealthfront, like any one of these banks, they offer a high yield savings account, but you're not going to see a Discover on 441 and like down the street. Like you're not going to find a Discover bank. And the reason for that is because they're online. So because they don't have a brick and mortar, they're able to provide you a higher interest rate on your money, on your savings account. Another good investment account is definitely IRAs. So in individual retirement accounts. Okay. I can get into this, but I don't really want to get too far into. I don't want to give y'all, overwhelm y'all with too much information, but a Roth IRA is probably going to be the best one to invest in, especially if you have children, you're trying to, build their wealth. This is a little bit more of this is an after tax investment account. And what that means is that when you get your paycheck, that net pay that you get, you can contribute into this account. Okay, there are limits, contribution limits on them for them annually. But with this account, it also kind of gives you a little bit of leeway, especially if you're, if say for example you want to buy a house, right, your first home. There is a way that you can request to pull money from it and not have the penalty for certain situations like that. So first time home buyers, and I think also for educational purposes as well. There's some ways that you can avoid penalties with doing this. But also the good thing about it is even though it's a retirement account, because you're contributing after tax dollars, when you retire and you become of retirement age, you can actually pull from this without paying taxes on it because you already paid taxes on it, right? So those two accounts I would definitely say are
I'm
what
sorry,
happened.
Jessica. That is so important. Like we want. Can you repeat that last part again? So
Yes,
people in the back can hear you.
yes. So after tax dollars, right? When you contribute it into a Roth account, when you go to retire or when you become of retirement age and you are withdrawing, you do not have to pay taxes on that money because you already paid taxes on that money when you were contributed. Okay. So yes.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna go on mute again.
Yes. So learning things like this is I mean, it's just been, for me, it has been such an amazing journey in learning things like this because there's so many things out there that you may not know. Which is why I'm here. Is I'm really here to help other employees understand how they can maximize their 9 to 5s. And even if you don't have a IRA, most of us as employees have 401ks or 457s or thrift accounts. They're all similar. And we just need to make sure that we are maximizing our contributions into there, so that when we go to retire, we're retiring healthy. Okay. But of course, in another sense, in planning, we want to make sure that we're planning for not just retirement, but anything else that comes up. Hence the reason why we want to make sure we diversify our investments. Okay. So we want to have retirement accounts, we want to have savings accounts, we want to make sure that even within our accounts, our investment accounts, we're investing in different types of stocks or different types of bonds, different types of REITs, all different real estate, everything. Okay, we want to make sure we're diversifying. So the first order of business is making sure that you connect with wealthy employees to get this info. That's first order of business. We need to make sure we're learning how to do these things so that we can build upon what we know. Did you have any other questions out there, Crystal? Because I'm gonna go on to step 2. So I just want to make sure I'm not moving too quickly.
Oh no, this is absolutely good. So thank you. Keep going.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. So the next thing is when we start building wealth, right? So once we have these investment accounts, once we have We bought our homes. We've learned about interest rates. We start learning about all these different things, right? We want to make sure that the second thing that we do is protect our assets, because you don't want to be out here having a home or, just anything that can get lost. Okay. We don't want to give it over to the government. We don't want those things rolling over and just going by the wayside. No, we want to make sure that we're able to pass these things down from generation to generation. So we want to make sure that we're protecting our investments. And insurance is one of them. Insurance is definitely one of them. You need to make sure that you have insurance, and not just homeowners insurance or anything like that, but one of the things that we don't think about or may not think that is very important is health insurance. We want to make sure that we are healthy, because if we can't maintain our health, guess what? Y'all already know how the medical is set up over here in the USA. It's quite ghetto. To say it in the simplest terms.
Yes,
But
yes.
it's expensive. It's expensive to be sick, and that's one thing that eats into our wealth. Is if you're not healthy, if you're not taking care of your body, if you're not able to go to the doctor on a regular, make sure you're going to the dentist, make sure you're getting your eyes checked, all of these things, you may end up being sick and you may not know. Then you have, a sickness that now is going to cost more money, more treatment, more medications, all of these things. So it's important that we want to keep healthy so that we can continue to focus on our main goal, which is building wealth, not spending it on medical bills and things like that. Another thing is life insurance, because unfortunately, some people have they may have life insurance through their employer, but they don't know that they need more. So if you check with your employer, more than likely the life insurance that you have is not going to cover everything that you would need to be covered, that your family is going to cover, because it's a shared portfolio. So it's split out amongst every employee in that in the organization. So you want to make sure that you look at these um, insurances that you have through your employer to see if you're going to need additional. More than likely you are. More than likely you are. And you want to at least at minimum make sure that you're covered all your debts. Okay, at minimum. So if you have a car note, if you have a home, mortgage, if you have anything like that, if you have student loans, you want to make sure that at least at minimum that your life insurance policy is covering that. Now, there's whole different types of life insurances out there, but usually, personally, what I have is term life insurance. Yes. Go ahead.
Question. So the topic of life insurance could just be a whole live, okay? So I really appreciate you bringing that up, and I really would love for you all to connect with Jessica to like learn more in detail about the various ins and outs of life insurance. But there are so many. You just spoke about term life. There's whole life. I know you're probably going to get into that, but these are things that you're going to have to decide like now. And
Mhm.
you may think that, oh, I'm young, or I'm not even thinking about that right now. I'm just trying to get the coins and things like that. But like her first point was plan to be wealthy or plan to build wealth. And this is a part of that. It's like a domino effect. First step, second step, third step, and it's going to keep going. And this all stems from you being a good steward over your finances. And that's what we do over here in the U Brand Academy camp and in the Wealthy Employee camp. Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
Yes.
Keep going, Jessica. This is
Yes,
good.
yes, yes. So yes, that is another thing. A lot of younger folks unfortunately believe that they have time. They believe, some of them don't, like I mentioned on health insurance, don't believe that that's something that's important when you're looking for a job. It is important, because you never know. I Of course, we, God forbid anybody is sick or has any types of illnesses, but you may also get hurt. It may not even be that you're sick. You may unfortunately get hurt. You may twist your ankle or something. You just never know. So you want to make sure that you're prepared at least for the minimum. And that's the same thing, like I was saying with the life insurance. You never know, unfortunately, what can happen. And it's as much as we don't want to think about it, it's a hard topic to want to zone in on. It's a reality. Like, life insurance is something that is so, thankfully, it does not cost too much for you to cover. So even though I don't know, I'm not gonna say how much our life insurance policies are, but we don't pay that much for the amount of money that we're covered for. I mean, it's like $50 or something like that, $60 a month. It's really not an extreme amount of money for you just to make sure that in the event, if something did happen, that you're covered. You know, it's the same thing with building a savings account. Like, you don't have to contribute, you know, going in with $1,000 every week or something like that. No, as long as you starting now, planning now, starting with the $10 a week instead of going Uber Eats, doing the $20 a week or something like that, investing in your future and investing in building this wealth, you're starting. And then you're protecting as well when you get these insurances, when you get these um all these other protections. So the next thing, yes. Oh, and I was talking about the term. So the difference between term and whole, just to kind of sum it up real quick. Term life insurance is for a particular term. So if you wanted, let's just say you wanted to only be covered for 10 years, right? And you're like, okay, I only want to have life insurance for 10 years. You can get a term for life insurance of 10 years. That's a term. So you're only covered for the 10 years. After the 10 years, you no longer have life insurance coverage. Whole life insurance is going to continuously cover you for your whole entire life. So whether you pass away, 20, 30, 40 years from now, you're covered all the way down. So those are the differences. There are much more differences, but in the basic sense, that those are the differences between term and whole life insurance. The next thing I wanted to get on is wills and trusts, which is another way to protect your assets. Okay. Yes. I know that this is kind of like, I'll let think of like, girl, you just talking about death. But we want to make sure we're covered because, again, we speak about generational wealth. And the only way that we're going to be able to build generational wealth is if we leave wealth to the next generation. We can't build generational wealth if we don't have any wealth to give them. Okay. They don't have anything to stand on. They don't have nothing to start from. So all they do is start over. And we cannot have that. We cannot have them keep starting over.
We
So
need
we
to
need to
break
make
that
sure,
cycle.
yes, break the
We gotta break
cycle.
the
We have to break
cycle.
the
And
cycle.
in order to break the cycle, we have to be well educated on what to do, which is another reason you need to connect with Jessica so that she can show you different things, different avenues personal to you or customized for you in your situation. All
Right.
right, keep going, Jessica. Look.
Yes. 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 Which is why it starts with knowing. You have to be able to connect and you have to build this education. You have to understand what it is that you need and how to protect yourself and how to protect your family in the event if there is anything that's going on. So and there is a lot. There is a lot. It needs to be personalized to you because you may not never want to have children while somebody else may want to have children. And so the talk of investments, the talk of protection is two totally different things. But for now, right now, I am definitely given the basics. Like I said, retirement accounts, at least an IRA, 401k, savings accounts, 100% life insurance, and health insurance, making sure you're covered on your health insurance. But like I was saying, the wills and the trust, this is something else that is very important. Um, and this is something that you would definitely need to speak with a lawyer on, an estate planner on, because these are they're legal documents. So they need to be very precise, right? And so the difference between wills and trust is that trust usually offers a lot more protection. Okay, in having a trust, usually you can avoid, or not you, but your family could avoid going to probate if it's set up properly. And what that essentially means is that your family, when you have passed, your family doesn't have to go to the courts and fight over or try to figure out who is getting what, where is it going, and all of that other stuff, because you have a trust, and trusts are very like detailed on what is what, and if this person doesn't, then who is going to get it, and it's a very 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 detailed legal document. The same thing with wills. I mean, you could create your own will, take it to an estate planner, and have them look over it and everything like that, making sure that it. But these documents do have to be updated. So as your life changes and you're going through life changes, as you accumulate more wealth, you definitely want to make sure that you're updating these documents as you are going through life. So when you buy your first home, you want to make sure, okay, let me make sure this is in the will. Let me make sure this is in the trust. Let me make sure that this is allocated where we want them to be allocated. If you accumulate land, if you have cars or anything like that, even artwork, I mean, anything that you may inherit or come across as well, you want to make sure that that's planned for as well. So protecting assets are very very important, because like I said, if you want to build this generational wealth, you have to make sure that the next generation has something to stand on to continue building the wealth. So not only do they, one, need to have the knowledge that you've gained in how to build the wealth, but it would be very nice for them to have some wealth to stand on as well.
Absolutely. So if you're listening now, I just want and you want to build generational wealth, or are you
Mhm.
or you're in the process of building generational wealth, can I get a hashtag generational wealth? I already started it. Look,
Yes,
hashtag generational wealth. But can y'all put hashtag
about to put
generational
it in
wealth
that
in the chat? Because that is definitely a goal of mine's, not just mine's, but me and my husband. Another thing, this is a whole nother live, but get your spouse on one accord. You and your spouse got to be on one accord when it comes to building generational wealth. We're not
Right,
going to get into that part today. We're
girl.
going to get into it another time.
But we're gonna touch on it because
We're
that
going to
is
touch on it because it is a whole topic by itself. Okay.
yes, it is definitely a whole topic by itself. Let me tell you all. When I tell y'all, Crystal is on point. Crystal is on
Look,
point.
and this is no notes. Like we obviously we have notes, but this is like with us just talking casually. So when she said we on one accord, we on one accord. Okay,
Yes,
alignment is key.
yes,
Again, alignment is key in
yes,
the relationship. But I'm gonna let you take it over again, Jessica. Go ahead.
yes. So the next step is definitely communication, y'all. Communication. Not just communicating with the next generation, but making sure that you're communicating with those who are in connection with you right now. So, like Crystal said, your spouse, you need to make sure that your spouse is on board. If your parents are still around and alive and well, definitely make sure that you're communicating with them your plans, because even though you have a plan, for example, in your will or your, you may want them to take over, they may not want to. Whoever you designate to becoming your what are they called? I forgot what they're called. But the person that you want to take over, either whether,
Power of attorney.
yes, well, your power of attorney, but there's also like designated I forgot what they're called, but they're designated people to take over your assets. So say for
Yes.
example, if you wanted somebody to take over and help with your business or something like that, or if you wanted children to go to this particular person, be watched under this particular person, the person could deny taking on that responsibility. Obviously they can say, no, I don't really want to do that at this time, even if you're deceased. And so this is why it's important to have these plans. This is why it's important to go to the estate planner. But this is also why it's important to actually communicate with the people that you're trying to put in your trust and your wills, because you want to make sure that you have a backup plan for who you want to take over next, or who you want to take this responsibility with next. But even in the more current sense, you want to make sure that you're on board with your spouse, because if you're living with your spouse and you're moving money and y'all are building wealth and everything, you want to make sure that you're investing in what y'all believe should be an investment at this time. You want to make sure you're working towards the same goals. And so if he's trying to I'm not gonna say he. I say he because obviously I'm married to my husband. But if your spouse is trying to, let's just say they want to invest in real estate, and you're like, well, I'm really just trying to, be focused, not really on real estate. I don't really want to build that. Maybe I just want to make sure that we, I don't know, invest in artwork or something like that. You all need to communicate to make sure that your funds are working together to either focus on one or the other or being split to where you all can both understand, okay, this is how much we're going to come into agreement to spend to put into real estate. This is how much we're going to spend to put into artwork, and you all have a healthy balance. The other thing with communication, like I said before, is with the next generation, because I think some people feel as though, well, I don't want to leave an inheritance because I don't know what they're gonna do with the money. And it's like, yeah, you don't know what they're gonna do with the money. But if you prepare them better to understand how to build the wealth on top of the assets that you've already provided them, you have a better chance of actually having them build that wealth versus if you just gave somebody, gave the next generation $1 million and just said, oh, okay, well, this is how much you're gonna get when you're 18. Like, of course, they're just going to spend the money. They don't know. So we have to make sure that we're giving them that knowledge. And also, in getting that knowledge is networking, networking. Okay. As y'all see, me and Crystal networked over two weeks ago. And yet here we are. We are building wealth. We're building it for you all. We're trying to make sure that we're giving you as much knowledge as you possibly can to really start on the right foot on your wealth journey. But it's important to connect with people who can help you. Invest in yourself, invest in your future, making sure that you have the knowledge that you need, and connecting with the people that you need. Maybe you know somebody who's in real estate and you want to see how did they get into it? How can you get into it? Maybe there is somebody that you know that is a lawyer and that can help you write a will. And these people may be in your job. You may not even know. Even connecting with coworkers. I mean, I know somebody. I know a lot of people, but I've connected with people in the investment sector of our at my job because I know that they know investments. I've connected with people who also are attorneys because I know that they know the law. So, it's very helpful to connect with people in these aspects to make sure that you're well rounded and that you're connected to get to where you're trying to go for your goal. This is also another reason why it's so important to not just get into that. Crystal talked about this on our live, but not get into that mindset of I'm just here to get this to collect the check. We don't
Yeah.
want to get into that collect the check mindset, right? Because we miss out on opportunities like this to connect
Mhm.
with other people and in even for our own personal lives to reach our financial goals.
Yes. The collective check mindset is something that I always talk about when I'm on lives. I feel like a broken record, but it's something that you don't ever want to have because when you have it, you're just like, I'm literally here to get this money and go. But you fail to realize that you're positioned here for a purpose. And when you can see the bigger picture, think bigger, you can be like, oh, I can use this opportunity to network with so and so, talk to them, see what their interests are really in, see if we really connect on another level. Whereas when we do leave this workplace or this career that we got going on, we can connect outside and
Mhm.
do something else together and produce a good thing,
Yeah.
right? It's literally, like I said before, a domino effect of things, but it's all in how you view the situation. Are you looking at it from a forward thinking mindset, or are
Right.
you just looking at it from like, I'm just here and I'm just here? And I've seen so many people stuck in that situation. They're just not thinking forward. And I just want to declare and decree right now that you will have a forward thinking mindset in everything, regardless if you like your job or not.
Mm-hmm.
Think about who is there who can help you get to where you're trying to go in the future.
Right. Right. Yes. Yes. And that's another thing is don't ever think that you don't don't think that you know everything. There's always so much to learn. So even if you're just connecting with your manager, even if maybe you're cool with your manager or something like that, um, you can learn something from them. So don't ever fall into that collective check mindset because it is very dangerous, because you are just focused on the money and nothing else. And that's not what we're here for. We're here to make sure that we are living abundantly. Okay. We are living abundantly as we were called to live. Okay. So that goes on to my next point. Okay. And who you really should be talking to and really have a relationship, and it's the most important relationship, is with God. You need to talk to God about your finances. You have to talk to Him about not just your finances, everything, but your finances, because as he states, he is the Alpha and the Omega. He knows everything. He knows literally everything. So why would you not want to make sure that you're in alignment with what he wants for you? He first of all wants more than what you want for yourself. So if you're trying to build wealth and you're just like, oh, I want to make sure that each of my children have $1 million, when I'm gone, he's over here like $1 million is not enough. Okay, we trying to make sure that your children are well taken care of at all times. $1 million month is what God is on. Okay, so we need to make sure that we're talking to God about our finances. We need to surrender them to Him. Ask Him, God, is this where I need to be sowing? Is this where I need to be investing? How do you feel about me connecting with this person? Is this something I should be focused on right now? Because He will lead you and guide you to where you need to be in that moment. Some of us, we like to jump the gun. I mean, I know I started off with saying that planning, there's nothing wrong with planning and getting started, but it's definitely much easier to be in alignment and be on God's plan so that it works in His time, so that you understand what the next move is. You understand why He's taking you this way. And He may not show you the whole picture, but again, it would be a lot easier to be working with His grace and work with His favor and work on His mercy. So, definitely talking to God, communicating with God is like the ultimate relationship that you should be building. You should be networking with God every single day, every single day.
Right?
God, when you talk about those Uber Eats, okay, God, do I really need this Uber Eats today though? Like, should I? You'll get that conviction look real quick. I know I do. I'll be like, oh, okay, I need to go sit down right here. Go open up this fridge and see what's in here real quick.
Oh my goodness, that's so funny when you when you said that, because I like to call those adult decisions, right? Adult decisions. And one thing, in order to make an adult decision, you have to be disciplined. And building wealth or planning to build wealth and becoming a wealthy employee is definitely going to take discipline. Discipline, because you have to be steadfast on the goal that you're trying to achieve. And I know all of this information is great and it may sound a little bit overwhelming, but listen, let me tell you, if you tap into the Father, if you tap into who you truly serve, you will understand that, oh, okay, you got me. If I know if I take these necessary steps, you're going to propel them into something that I never even thought or imagined, right? And so we also have to keep that in mind too. Take the steps. Don't be afraid to do it. Don't be like, oh, I don't even have the money to invest. Oh, I don't even have the money. You're speaking from a place of lack.
Mhm.
Don't speak from a place of lack, but speak from a place of abundance.
Yes.
Like, it's not what it looks like. I'm just trying to tell you, it's not what it looks like. God sees the future. He sees what you are already, but we just got to get on board. So yes,
Yeah.
just for that alignment piece,
Mhm.
yes,
Yes.
important.
Yes, and what you said too, just reminded me as far as for connecting with him and making sure that you're in alignment and asking for bigger, we have to remember who we're serving. Like we're serving God, the creator of the heavens and the earth. Like there is nothing that he cannot do. So even though you may see something right now, you may say, "Well, God, I don't see how I'm going to build this wealth, and I'm only making $50,000 a year." Listen, listen. If you ask him for wisdom, he will give it to you. He will give it to you. He will show you who to get it from. He will show you where to go. He will show you what to do with it. And don't be afraid, like Crystal said, of making the investment now. Don't be afraid to make a mistake because he will make it right. Okay. So even though it may not look like it's going right, he can always turn it around for you. He could always turn it around. Always. Anything. He could turn it around for you. I have so many testimonies, y'all. Like, if y'all want to go listen, so many testimonies. That's a whole nother live. But trust and believe, don't even trust and believe me. Trust and believe in his word where he said that he's gonna provide all of your needs. Okay. You will never lack for nothing. There is no poor among us. So we need to make sure that we are in his word at all times because he will definitely provide for us. Okay. Definitely. There's nothing to be afraid of. There's no reason to be scared. He has us at all times. He's always with us. So that is, whew, I'm trying to see if I missed anything. I feel like I talked so much.
Listen, that was so good. If you're watching now, I know you have had a wealth of information. You're like, oh my goodness, I gotta go back and listen to the replay. Go do that. Listen to
Yeah.
the replay. But one thing that you touched on, you said there are no poor among us. Whoo, y'all.
Yes. Deuteronomy
That
54.
that piece right there is so. Ooh, it touched me so good because it's
Mhm.
like when we talk about building generational wealth, when we talk about no poor among us, we got to think about the future. Like we don't want our bloodline to be corrupted with this like lack of knowledge or this lack or this spirit of lack, right? And so when we say that and declare that there are no poor among us, we have
Mhm.
to stand firm in that and know that, oh, we got to get this done. We got to do what we got to do.
Yes.
We got to do what we got to do, even though we may not see the resources right away. We just got to trust and believe that God will provide the resources, especially as we begin to take the necessary steps, right? And that's just how it's going to be. And so if we're going to have confidence in anything, have confidence in that God will do the job, period,
Mhm.
and do it for you
Yes.
and generations to come.
Yes. Listen, God told us that we need to have an inheritance. We need to leave an inheritance to our children. It's His instruction for us to do that. So if He wants us to leave an inheritance, do you not think that He would provide you with everything you need to be able to provide the inheritance to the next generation? And what does it say? What does it say that we need to leave an inheritance for our children's children? At least that's too deep. That's 2 generations deep minimum. Okay. At minimum. So we need to make sure that we are on his plan because he's going to give us all of the knowledge, all of the wisdom, everything. And that's why Crystal and I have built our businesses on God and having him as our go-to, our first number one. He is the owner of our businesses. We are here, we are the servants, we are the faces, but he is behind every single detail in our businesses. So even before we got on this live, we prayed because we need to make sure that we are speaking from what he wants you all to hear. So it's so important to communicate and have a relationship with um with God who knows literally everything. Everything.
Yes,
Everything.
yes. Look, and with that, I think that's a perfect way to close out this live today. And so, y'all, again, if you did not get the beginning or catch the beginning or the middle and you caught the tail end, definitely listen to the replay. There was a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of knowledge dropped from Jessica today. And I'm just so happy that you were able to join us, Jessica, to close out Financial Literacy Month. Like,
Yeah.
this is something that a lot of financial gurus don't talk about, right? God and your finances and your career and how you really can build wealth as an employee.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And so
Yeah.
I'm so excited to be bringing this type of message to LinkedIn Live. And I look forward to bringing even more messages like this to LinkedIn Live. I'm sure Jessica and I are going to partner up again to do some more live. So stay tuned. So
Yes.
stay tuned, definitely. But Jessica, thank you so much. People, if you want to follow her, definitely follow her on LinkedIn at give your information, Jessica.
Yes, yes. LinkedIn. We are on LinkedIn. We are on YouTube. We are on Instagram. We are on Facebook. All of it is at Wealthy Employees. You also can email me if you have any questions. hello@wealthyemployees.com. If you go to our website, which is just wealthyemployees.com, you can find all of the information for the products and services that we offer. So, yes, connect on any level, any platform, pretty much. We are.
Yes. I love it. I love it. All
Yes.
right, you all go forth and conquer. Have a wonderful and blessed day. And I will catch you back here up here in May. I'm gonna do something in May. I don't know what it is right now, but it is going to be something in May.
Yes.
So join me live on your lunch break, and I will talk to you soon.
Bye,
Bye. Thank you again,
everybody.
Jessica.
Thank you.